Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys. I have Cindy Lovetinsky here with me. Cindy Lovetinsky has been, she's our third longest running person, not actual running. She hasn't been running for the last, is it 8 years now? Is it 8? Are you at the 8-year mark? 2008, she started with, no, 2009. 2010, so 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, Cindy started working out with me, and it has been a ride from the get-go. I counted her out from the very beginning. I was like, this lady's going to be a washout. She's not going to stick with it. She's going to, like, because you kind of, like, if you're in my industry, like, you kind of get people that just have a type. Cindy defied all odds. I'm very rarely wrong about people when they walk in. I'm like, yeah, they'll wash out, or yeah, they're going to stick with it forever. I am very wrong, very rarely wrong in that department, and I am super happy that I was wrong because she's got a lot of guts. You can say a lot of things about Cindy, but she has a ton of guts, and I think if there's anything that I value in a person, if I can put one thing on somebody, it's that I wish everybody could have more of. It would be courage, and Cindy's got a lot of that. So we're gonna talk a little bit about her story and her struggles, and what you don't know about the lady sitting in front of you is that one time, well, I can let her go into this, but she has gone through massive weight loss. I mean, like transformative weight loss. You would not know who she was if you hadn't seen her in the last 6 months when, in that first 6 months of training. It was phenomenal. She came in, she worked her butt off, but Cindy is, well, Cindy, let's start out. Who were you before you started working out at Grit Gym?
A mother of two.
So you had two kids. They were what? One was in single digits. Ryan was still in single digits. Taylor was a teenager.
No, Taylor was more, she was about 10 when she
also
really? Started working out the same.
Yeah, her daughter started working out back then too.
Yeah, I think Taylor was 11 going on 12. It was right on the cusp of that, I'm pretty sure.
And do you mind telling them how old you were when you started?
I was 40.
You'll always be this age to me.
I am forever 42, according to Adam.
So this is kind of cool. Yesterday was Cindy's birthday, so
yeah.
So if you guys are coming in, please share this out and also put in the comments, "Happy birthday, Cindy!" Please. It was a big milestone. What was it? I can't say certain things. Maybe you don't even want to tell people. I don't know. It's just a number.
Not really, but it is just a number. But I am 50 now.
50 years old, going strong, and still lifting weights, still deadlifting, still squatting. Yes. Still pushing the sled. Yes. Still bench pressing.
And I love it. I love it all. I'm a kid at heart. That'll never change. Yeah. That'll never change.
So when you first started, you were 42 years old, which is how old you'll always be in my head. You'll always be 42 years old.
I love that.
Like it doesn't even work in my head that you're not 42. But so she's 42 years old. How many things have you tried before you started?
Oh gosh, yeah, I tried a few different things.
And they were all with the goal of fat loss. She tried. Yeah. What did you try?
Well, I've done anything clear back from when I was 12. I remember my mom going to Weight Watchers when I was a child.
So would you say, like, okay, so you were 12 years old, and do you think that you had, I don't want to call it a weight issue, but like, do you think that in your head you wanted to drop some fat when you were 12 years old?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? Do you think, looking back now, do you think that you had that in mind, that that's what you should be doing, focusing on when you were 12?
I guess it was just part of the way I grew up.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when you were 12, did you have the weight to lose? Like,
I did. I thought I did. Yeah.
But,
yeah, I had some.
You had some.
Okay. I wasn't that skinny. I was more of a husky.
Do you get what I'm saying? It's like some people have like a body image issue where they're like, that was one of my things was, I mean, I was 4.5% body fat. I mean, that's insane. 4.5% body fat is like the guys on magazine covers and stuff. Like, sure. And I thought it was fat.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think we all are hard on ourselves at different times in our life. And it seems like it's never good enough. When people generally talk about themselves, they always want that little bit better. Even if it's 5, 10, if it's very small.
Yeah, so you're 12 years old, you want to lose some weight then. What'd you try? And so you tried Weight Watchers with your mom or no?
I did do that eventually. The first diet I ever did was called Scarsdale. It was out of a book. Yeah, it was crazy.
So how many different diets do you think you just throw out a number? Do you think you tried a dozen?
I'd probably say, at least 5, 10, somewhere between 5 and
10. 5 to 10 different diets.
Yeah.
What about exercise programs?
Exercise?
Just how many? You don't have to name them.
A few.
We could probably make fun of different exercise programs.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the entire 30 minutes, but so how many? You think like 5, 10, 20? Like how many Jane Fonda DVDs did you buy?
Oh gosh.
Or they weren't DVDs. They were not DVDs back then.
Cindy
they were VHS. Janet had
Firm.
Jenny had the Firm.
And it worked.
Or Janet had the Firm. My mom had the Firm. I remember.
I'm not sure that it was the best for me because I remember having some knee issues after doing that.
Oh yeah.
I did.
I don't even know. I've never seen.
There were some things in there that kind of.
Cindy Lovetinsky.
I mean, anything I think is going to work when you start something new and you put your mind to it. And I think that's the main thing is it's something new and I'm doing this. And I think in a way it's almost more the mindset than anything else.
Sure, yeah, like when you finally, like when you commit.
It's like you
that's
say,
like
I'm doing this today and I'm doing it tomorrow and I'm doing it the next day.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you just keep going with it.
And you just figure it out as you go.
And what happens when
so
something falls off?
So we're going kind of random here. If you hang out with Cindy and I,
yes.
or you hang out with Cindy individually or me individually, you would find that we are just outrageously random people. So commonality. But like I have a friend who he wants to start a bar. He's always wanted to run his own bar. Don't ask me why. It sounds like an awful job to me, but whatever. And he'll call up these other two friends of ours every week. He calls up both of them every week and has for as long as I've known him. I've known him for close to 10 years.
Yeah.
That's 520 phone calls. That's 1,040 phone calls that he has made and saying, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? And he pitches them every week on a new bar location, a new thing. And the other day, I asked him if he wanted to do one in with me on a different endeavor, and just to see what he'd say. And because I'm weird. I wasn't experimenting with him, but I was kind of experimenting. And he was like, well, it depends on this and this and this. And I'm like, do you want to do the deal?
Right.
Like, basically I was saying, are you going to commit first, figure it out later, or are you going to wait until you have all your ducks in a row and then go for it? Like, which one do you think is more important?
I would say through experience, the commitment will get you where you need to go. If you commit, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be that person that falls back on your commitment, even if it's to yourself.
Well, even if you're starting, let's say you're starting in Iowa City, Iowa, and you want to go to New York, even if you went all the way to Seattle first, but you're committed to going to New York, you're going to end up in New York. Like, you might go completely out of your way, but at least you went. But if you never commit, and you're like, oh, I'll never actually, like, if you never just go ahead and commit, like, you're just going to stay in Iowa City. You won't even go to Seattle. You won't even go to New York. So that's my thought around the commit first, figure out the rest later.
Well, and even if you don't get there, you still got a pretty good adventure.
Yeah.
The airlines take you here and there all the time. So
right, yeah.
That's a good example, really.
Yeah, I was thinking of driving. But,
sure.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
How many times do you have to go clear out of your way to get to where you want to go? And it seems like you're backtracking, but...
you mean on a plane?
Yeah.
Planes are totally different. But so Cindy before she started, she had a couple kids. She's in a relationship, and do you want to tell them how much you weighed?
I weighed I'm
you don't have to, but you can. It's just a number.
I weighed 220 pounds, but I got down to 145, and I loved it there. Yeah.
So you went from, in the first year you made.
Yeah. In
the first year of training. So she started at 220, and she went to 145, and I don't think people realize, it's kind of hard to put into words how much, from my perspective, the number of people that I've seen do that. So, when someone comes in the door and they don't believe in themselves, and I see all these people that are like, well, I can never do that. That's for people who love exercise. That's for people who, I'm like, yes, you can. I've seen so many people do crazy things like this. Like, I mean, that's 220 pounds to 145 pounds. How did you feel when you were at 220 pounds?
I was wondering when my funeral would be.
Really? That's the kind of stuff that went through your head?
Oh, yeah.
Did you? Was it almost like you wanted it to come sooner? Like,
oh, yeah.
Did you just feel that terrible?
I felt that terrible.
Yeah.
I did.
What were some of the things that you think?
Because I knew I was capable of being better.
Really? That's what drove you nuts the most, was that the idea that you could be better, but you weren't.
Yeah.
Or that you could be you could be living the life that you wanted to be living, but you weren't.
Yeah. We all have those comparisons in our life, from our best to where we are, where we're not. So, and then that was the one thing that I felt like I had the belief that I could do it again. And when I
do it again, what do you mean?
When I met you, that I could get to a smaller size.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I knew that I didn't need to hang out there.
Oh, you mean hang out at 220?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how much time did you spend at 220?
Too long.
Really?
Quite a while. Probably at least a couple of years, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, how long have you been creeping up? Because I mean, 220 doesn't just happen overnight, right?
It kind of happened when.
I'm gonna switch these. I don't have a behind-the-scenes person, so you guys just got a fun one right there, didn't you? There you go.
If you saw my schedule back in 2010, I did find it. And I was this mom who was running her kids from so many different activities and the intricate dance that it took to do that. And, you know, where do you go for food? You know, it's those fast food places. You know, I didn't have it in my background to plan all these adventures and to plan eating right.
Yeah.
In between.
Yeah.
You know, because now that I have the knowledge to do that, I could absolutely do that.
You mean that now that, like, looking back, you can go, oh, well, if I just would have prepared my food ahead of time, if I just would have put sandwiches in a cooler and carried it with me, then I would have food for my kids, food for me. I wouldn't have been stopping into fast food places and stuffing my face full. Mm-hmm. So what do you think was stopping you from living the experience that you wanted to have? What do you think was stopping you? So that's what was making you creep up to 220. What do you think was, and I mean, your kids were probably, like, I mean, Taylor was at the height of her gymnastics career at, what, like 7, 8 years old? Mm-hmm. And so, like, you had 7 or 8 years of eating fast food junk then.
Yeah. And
that's what, it just steadily crept up to that. What do you think was stopping you from being able to have the life that you wanted?
I think that I just wasn't putting myself first.
Really?
I wasn't being there. I wasn't there for myself.
Yeah.
I was there for
what were you sacrificing yourself for? Like, you were like if you're not putting yourself first, you're sacrificing. You're putting yourself on the chopping block.
Right.
Right? So the kids,
it was
house,
more important
job.
For me for everyone else to have what they needed or what I thought they needed, rather than my needs first.
If you could go back, well, I'll ask you that later.
Okay.
But what? So, like, you weren't putting yourself first. What else was stopping you?
I think it was just I was overwhelmed.
Really? Was it being a mom, or just like? Because overwhelmed is an interesting word.
Sure.
Because like what do we overwhelm ourselves with, for instance?
Just all the daily tasks that we have to do, and managing all of the things that I was being pulled in a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
And I think that it was something that, thank goodness I had my calendar, because I don't know what I would have done without that. I don't know how I would have ever been anywhere on time. It's crazy, you know. You just got to prioritize, and maybe I didn't have my priorities right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you weren't putting yourself first, then,
yeah.
I mean, and I don't want to get into right and wrong. I mean, everybody's got a different opinion on that. I personally think that like, I don't know if I believe in a right or a wrong, but there is definitely pros to putting yourself first, because I think, like, if you put yourself first, then you're better at all the things that make you great, and you're a better service to all those that you care about. But but no, like overwhelmed, you know, like when we get overwhelmed, like really there's only one thing that you can do right now. And so when we get ourselves overwhelmed is when we try to put one more on and one more on and one more on, because, I mean, ultimately, why are we doing that? You know, we're doing it because, maybe not ultimately, but one of the reasons we might be doing that is because if we're scared that we're not enough, then we pile more stuff on to validate the fear that we're not enough, because you're not enough to pull. You're actually not enough to try to do two things at one time. Yeah, so you end up validating that truth that you're not enough. You know, that we all have.
I think that's a powerful thing that we do. I think we do want to validate our truths more than anything. Yeah,
but powerful, positive or powerful negative, right?
Well,
you know, like if you're going out to prove, to the world that you're not good enough, think all the not good places you will go. Versus if you're going out to prove to the world, or maybe not prove to the world, but prove to yourself, you know. Or you're going to give yourself something. You're going to give yourself that greatest gift. It's
important to, now I realize how important it is to ask that question. You know, is it valuable for me to prove something right or wrong? Yeah. If I want to prove it, is that serving me, or is it serving me? Which angle is going to serve me better now?
I think that's a really good question to ask. Yeah. I mean, because you pull up to that McDonald's. Is this food serving you? Is it serving your cause? Is it serving your purpose? Is it serving your bank account? Like, no, none of those.
So now that's what I've been doing. I've had a good week of practicing that question now, because as you keep going with these things, I pick up a little something here and there. These videos. This show. This is a show. You know, I do pick up things, and it's like, when am I going to really get this? Let's challenge everything I'm doing. Is this serving me, or is it not? Yeah. It's a very good question, because whether the truth is good truth to validate or a bad truth to validate, I don't need to validate those truths. Let's find out what
the negative ones.
Me. Yeah.
Like if your deep-rooted fear is that you're the fat girl, for instance, in your mind you believe you're the fat girl, then you're going to go out. You're so scared of that you're going to go out and you're going to prove it. Like, that's not something that you want to go out and validate, right? But versus changing that belief structure in your mind so that you can become what you actually want to experience in life. Yeah. Am I kind of on the line of what you're saying? Way to go. So what do you think was the big internal obstacle or the big internal struggle that you had while? So you had the external struggle of, fast food was because you were hustle and bustle and your kids around. What was the internal struggle of the whole thing? Putting kids first. You're scared of being the fat girl, right? Was there anything else in there that really was like the hard part of it all? And this is looking back. You might not have known it at the time.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That I knew.
What made the switch?
Switch? It's just.
Because there had to be. What was the culminating?
There was a challenge that a friend of mine came up with.
Yeah, you and oh gosh.
Lisa was her name.
Oh, Lisa. Was the friend.
She said, let's lose. I had not been going out with friends much at all. Ended up out with all my friends and one night, and she says, hey, and I had such a great time. I realized what a great time I had, and I thought, wow, what have I been missing out on?
Okay, so at this time you also had not been socializing. Because I was too embarrassed to go out. I would make excuses. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. And that was really sad. And so when she did the challenge, I'd already been trying to lose weight. I'd get on the treadmill and nothing, But once that challenge came up, and I had already kind of been priming myself I'd been looking at this brochure that had Adam Reese's name on it, and it said something about if you can work hard. And I thought, wow, wait a minute, I know that person.
She doesn't mean Adam. She doesn't mean that she knew me. She didn't know me yet. She means the person that was the hard worker inside of herself. I'm pretty sure
person.
Anyway.
Yes, I know that person.
I'm hijacking your story.
I know that hard worker.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow, let's do this. I need to meet this guy.
And keep in mind that I completely counted her out from the get-go. I was just like, yeah.
You're not the first person. I've started jobs before.
But you're one of the. I can count the number of people that I was wrong about in that scenario on one hand.
Really?
Yeah. And
well, I'm glad it was for the good.
And I remember all of them because I'm so really wrong. So I'm so glad that you stuck with it. But that was the thing. The challenge started down that. So Cindy had a challenge with her friend that I didn't know about till now. But the challenge when she first came in, we're sitting there talking, and I go, well, if she said, do you think I can do this? And I said, if you can work your absolute ass off, you can do this.
And I knew that.
And she goes, I can do that.
That was me. That was me to the core.
Yeah, if you know, if you work out with Cindy, if there's one thing that Cindy can do really, really well, that's it. It's that she can work hard. She can work super hard. And that's a lot of this whole scenario is just having the guts to just work your absolute ass off. When you don't know if you can do it, what do you got to do? Just put your head down and go, right?
Yeah.
But, so we started working together, and we started working on nutrition. Started out with a water bottle and a one of those pocket journals, wasn't it? It was just really simple back then. Or did you have the full one?
I was before you.
That was a notebook.
This place.
There was a note. We started working on nutrition though, and we started writing down all the food that.
It was
and
just
then we would go over
flip.
It was just a simple flip book. It didn't have to be fancy, and so we started working out, and she was doing tough workouts. I mean, there was no sympathy involved. It was just we're going to go hard. We're going to go appropriate for you, but we're going to go hard. Yeah. So it was appropriate for where she started. To an Olympian, maybe that would have been an easy workout, but to someone that was just starting out in this journey, it was hard. And so we started working out together, and then how long did it take before you got down to 145? So she starts out at 220. Remember, we started out at 220. She gets down to 145 within the first year. Within the first year.
I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. I literally would go buy clothes, and 2 weeks later, I would have to buy new clothes.
Did you burn the old ones?
They were too big.
No. You still have them?
No,
you get rid of them.
I got rid of them little by little, but I still have some, I think.
Whoever's watching right now, if you're trying to lose a bunch of weight, once you do, you burn the goddamn clothes. You don't keep them around. You burn the bridge so that you cannot return. And then you never, ever, ever buy a bigger size. It's just, bam. Done at that size. You never buy a bigger size.
Note taken.
Note taken. All right. So what happened though? What was the difference between? What was the What did you know could have happened had you not gone through with it?
It would just waste your life away, and then you wouldn't be experiencing the fun that you can have with your children. It was so much fun to experience life thin with my kids.
Yeah, that's that story that you came in. Cindy basically came in crying one day, and I was like, "What? What is this?" But like happy tears. Yeah, she comes in, she's basically crying,
I don't remember
and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, apparently, she raised her son to the car. And she was super happy because that was just not a thing that was possible 6 months before that. And 6 months of time is not, that happens. We're coming up on July 1st. July 1st is the halfway point of 2017, to put it in perspective. Yeah. That happened, how fast did the last 5 months happen like that? So Cindy comes in and she had raised her son to the car. She couldn't run before.
I had plantar fasciitis when I started with that.
Yeah, she had terrible plantar fasciitis, and
so bad.
And I mean, you just can't run with that amount of weight when you're 5'4". You just can't do it.
5.
5'5". Sorry.
You have to get that right.
Oops. Okay, and then she came in like maybe a month after that, and she's doing the same thing. I'm like, okay, like I hope these are happy tears. And she said that her son gave her a hug and could wrap his arms all the way around her. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Those are like beautiful. Pretty cool stories. And those are two very minor, little, tiny things, you know, in the grand scheme of things. But they made a world of a difference to you, right?
Yeah.
What was some of the other stuff that you noticed?
I just had more energy. Gosh, I could just rock my day. I was enjoying life. I really got out and enjoyed life.
Do you think that
I was up for anything? And I packed my car. I was ready for anything. I had my gym clothes with me. When I was wearing my gym clothes, I would have street clothes. And if somebody called me up, I'd be like, yeah, I'll be there. About a half hour, I can be there.
There's like a theme here. Do you guys notice that before she started, completely unprepared for life, she didn't have her clothes around. She didn't have her workout clothes ready when she wanted to work out. She didn't have her street clothes ready when people wanted to be social. She didn't have her food ready for when she was in between stuff with her kids. Now, and that got her up to 220 pounds. What got her down to was being prepared. She now had she had a coach to push her through her workouts and to make sure that they were appropriate for her. She's eating better. She's getting accountability and expert advice instead of the joker advice that she was getting before from all these fad diets. She had workout clothes ready to go in her car for when her workout was. She had clothes ready for when it was time to be social in case she wanted to go be social. And she had food in the car that was appropriate for what her goals were. I mean, that's like extreme, like those are just tactics too. Like that has nothing to do with the personal growth, the emotional growth, the tumultuous times of like, can I pull this off sort of thing? Am I enough to pull this off? All the crap that she actually went through to be able to get to where she was. I mean, that's like the amount of like, do you think that you were the same person at 220 as you were at 145? Do you think it was just a physical change, or like which was bigger, the physical change of going from 220 pounds to 145 pounds, or the emotional and spiritual and personal development from 220 to 145? Which one was bigger?
Gosh, the emotional high I got out of that was incredible.
Well, not just like the high, but like the growth, the expansion.
It was.
Do you think that one's bigger?
God.
Like, do you think it took more mental fortitude than it took physical exertion?
It took both.
Yeah.
It takes both.
It totally takes
both. It really does. I mean, they're both equally important.
Yeah.
They really are, I would say. Yeah, living prepared, that was something I was thinking about recently. It's like, just live ready.
Yeah.
Live ready. And I was living ready for anything. And I that's something that I have forgotten about.
Let's see what Rachel says. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's super important. I mean, like, what are you, when you're super hungry and you're hangry and it's late at night and you're kind of irked off about the whole day and you're just tired and you want to go to bed, but you're so hungry, like, are you going to make a better choice? Are you going to go cook a meal at that point, or are you going to order pizza?
No, you're going to reach for whatever.
You're going to reach for whatever is there, right? So if you're going to reach for whatever is there, you better have something good to reach for, right?
Exactly.
You know, and that's one of the hardest things is just like knowing, like, oh, like when you're motivated, it's easy. It's like, oh yeah, I'll go do that, no problem. I'll always be motivated like this. But motivation is fleeting, right?
It's very fleeting.
Yeah. So what do you got to do?
You just have to live prepared.
Yeah.
Always.
Definitely.
And I was good at it. I was good at that.
Yeah.
I really was.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody has their ups and downs. So you go through this first year, and then you kind of had like it's hard to maintain that, but that's why you create habits, right?
Right.
You know, so that you can do it without thinking about it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything? I mean, we're coming up on time limit. So, is there anything? I didn't even realize I just lost track of time. Is there anything like what are like? Are there one big thing that you, because people are super scared, like 42-year-old mom, kids your age. She is terrified to come in here right now.
Oh.
Terrified to pick up the phone, terrified to write an email, write us on Facebook, you know what I mean? Even though she's seen all our videos, I hear this all the time, how scared people are. Sometimes, I used to take heart rates. I used to take their heart rate when they would walk in the door for their assessment and for their strategy session. I stopped doing it because, 50% of the people had, in the 80s. It's like, obviously they're not walking around with 88 beats per minute. It's like, are you a little nervous? Like, yes. So they're so nervous. What is some advice that you have for them?
Oh my gosh.
Or words of encouragement or whatever.
This is like a judgmental free place. As long as you're not judging yourself, because that's the hard part.
Yeah, that gets into the
judgments that are made in here are for your benefits.
Like what?
Like the assessment. Like, can I do this safely? Can I, is this something that I need to do a different exercise that will lead me up to the, it's just all the progressions and regressions. What is right for your body? Because we all love seeing new people here, and everyone has something to offer. And I feel like Adam has always been there for me. It was embarrassing when that person that met Adam for her first assessment, the thing that made him my hero at that day that really made a difference for me, was when he was doing an assessment and he told me to stand up onto one leg from the bench. Oh. And I couldn't do it. And all through the assessment, I was like, this is not the person that I remember that I had been, the strong person that I had been. And when it was depressing for me. It was very depressing to see all the things that I couldn't do anymore because I had let myself go.
I was a huge jerk during your assessment, apparently.
No, you weren't. Because what you did was, instead of leaving me to say, well, she can't do that, he put a bar out in front of me, a PVC pipe. And he let me use that to help myself up.
Oh, yeah, like give you a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little.
Because that's where I was at the point.
Let you do it, but
Now, can I do it now without any assistance? Absolutely. But that day, when I was 220 pounds, I couldn't. But you didn't say, you didn't just write it off. You gave me what I needed to succeed. And that was the deal that sealed the deal for me.
Oh, yeah?
I said, I like your style, sign me up. I remember saying that at the end of the assessment. I like your style, sign me up.
I do remember you saying, I like your style, and I was like, I don't know what that means, but sure.
I had already spent so much money on other crap. And I'm like, I could spend money on someone who's completely invested in the outcome here. And it was something that I would do over and over and over again for someone like that.
I'm glad you're seeing how good I am at taking compliments.
Well, I came here and I did the work, and he didn't. I didn't know till later that you didn't think I would last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, why would I tell you that?
I've got the deer in the headlights. I'm the deer in the headlights personality. And that first 2 weeks, that means that I'm soaking it all in, and it doesn't look like I'm getting it, but I'm getting it.
What's the deer in the headlights?
Deer in the headlights.
What's that mean?
Well, it's
I know what deer in the headlights means, but what's that personality like?
I would say that it's the person that they're just scared and they're just trying to learn, and they don't look very confident. And once you see the door open up and everything's just like you can literally see when they finally get into their comfort zone and they're like, I got this.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I get what
it
you mean.
deceives people. So that 2 week, I'm a 2 week person. Like, give me 2 weeks and then you'll see what I'm made of.
Oh, I got you. I got it.
I know what I'm going for. It's not always necessary for you to know that.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah.
As long as you're going hard and as long as I'm doing my job and pointing you in a good direction and you're going hard and doing what you're told. Well, I'm not doing what you're told, but yeah.
Yeah, you work hard and you take the expertise. I mean, that you keep learning you keep continuing your education for people like me who want to work hard. I can't think of a better team than that.
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to. I mean,
really,
two things like that we're trying to create out here is or two things I think we do a pretty decent job of anyway. Like, we're the outrageously most educated gym in this area, but probably in the world. I mean, like not probably in the world. We're one of the most educated gyms in the world. And what to try to do is really create like a safe space that people can explore and express who they really are, not necessarily the facade that they have to continue. And
that safe place is one of the most important elements for someone who is scared as hell to come in here.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard.
It's hard
facing it up. But I know we have a comment. What's up, guys? So good to hear testimonials and see your faces. Molly Jones.
Hi, Molly.
When was the last time you saw her?
I know Molly.
She's married and moved away now. Yep.
Very good to hear from you, Molly.
She's I guess she's probably in about the same atmosphere as we are right now.
Yeah.
As far as
weather
goes, but we're almost 10 minutes over, so you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
You got to just say do it. Mm-hmm. You know. What was the other one? Oh, you just said it a little bit ago. What was your big piece of advice that you want to give away? That'll make it 3.
Just trust the process.
Ooh,
really.
I'm going there.
We have to trust the process. Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it anyway.
Thank you for being here. Right. Thanks, guys, for being here. Thanks for watching. Okay. Please share this out. In the comments, write happy birthday, because it's Cindy's birthday. Well, it was Cindy's birthday yesterday. It's not too late. It's not too late to say happy birthday.
No,
but
I celebrate all year long.
But Cindy has a big story. She went from eating fast food, never being prepared, running her kids around, got up to 220 pounds, and then tried everything underneath the sun. Nothing was working for her. Basically wanted to give up. She didn't give up. Then we met, and she got to work with a program that worked for her, because we make everything appropriate to the person. And then we focused on accountability with food. Everything started to improve pretty soon. She's dominating with fat loss and getting stronger. And then all of a sudden, she's a completely different person down at 145. And the amount of emotional growth and personal growth and led to, she was prepared with her food. She had clothes in her car to go be social, and she had clothes in her car when she was ready to work out. So she was prepared, and she trusted the process, and it worked out pretty well for her.
And this is a very good reminder for me.
Yeah, very powerful.
Follow my own advice here.
Seriously, that's what these do, for real.
Seriously.
Yeah, if anything. But thank you for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll be back again tomorrow.